self-graded online test using Google products, and you just bear with me here because I'm not going to edit this video or anything to make me sound better than what I do. So here we go. I'm just going to go right into the lesson here. Okay, in order to do this, what you need to do is you need to just open up a browser, make sure you're connected to the internet, and make sure you're on a Google home page. You sign in and you just enter an email address, or sign in with your email address. And oops. And up here in this checker box at the upper right hand side, you click on that. It'll give you some options. Hit Google Drive. And we're going to create a new folder. So I'm going to hit New Folder. And I'm going to call this Exam 1. Create. And there's my folder, Exam 1. I'm going to click into that. Now, inside Exam 1 folder, inside my drive, inside Google Drive, under my Gmail account, I'm going to go here and I'm going to select New. And I don't see Google Forms. In order to see that, you hit the More, and you'll see Google Forms is what we want. I'm going to click on that. And we see it creates an untitled form. This is the name of the form, and this is the name of the file or the document, the file name. In order to change them both, I just simply call them Exam 1 up here, the file name, and when I click outside, it automatically updates the form to correspond with the file name. Okay, so automatically it gives me one question, and I don't want this to be a multiple choice for my first question. If I click here, it gives me choices. What I want this to be is a short answer, and I'm going to call this, instead of untitled question, I'm going to call this student name. And before I go on, I also want to point out that there's a form description here. And you can say this is Exam 1 that covers the first half of the course. You know, you can say whatever you want in your description. But we've created our first question here, student name, which is a short answer. In order to create another question, we go up the upper right hand here where this plus sign is, click on that, and it gives us another question. And on this question, we're also going to make this, instead of multiple choice, we want it to be short answer. And we're going to call this email, just simply email. And to make sure that the student enters an actual email address, we have these three dots here at the bottom right hand corner of the question. Click on that, and it allows us to either make a description of the question or a data validation. We're going to choose data validation, and the data validation is right underneath the question itself now. And up here it asks us if we want a number, a text, length, a regular expression. We just want to make it a text. And on the next item, we want it to be an email address. And for custom error text, we just want to say must enter valid email address. Okay. And we're just going to go on to our next question. And we're going to call this question A. And we do want this one multiple choice. And in order to populate this question with answers, instead of calling this option 1, I'm just going to say this is answer A. And the next question will be answer B. And that's how we do it. We just simply hit this add option to give us another option. And I'm going to make that C, answer of D. If this was a real test, of course, we would be making the question probably much longer, and the answers longer as well. But for simplicity's sake, and just because all we want to do here is learn the technology, I'm just going to make these questions very simple, and this exam is going to be very short. We go to another question, and we're going to call this, question B. You're going to hit A, add option B, add option C, add option D. And I'm going to save myself some time here. For the next question, just going to simply duplicate this by hitting this duplicate button down here at the bottom of the question. And I have this, somehow I got the student name underneath my questions, and I don't want that. I want student name to be first. So I'm going to select student name, and I'm going to, this little 6 dots here will allow you, if you click on that, will allow you to drag the question up, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to make that the first question. Okay. Now, in order to make what I'm going to call question C, I'm just going to simply duplicate question B by hitting this duplicate button. And there we go. We have a duplicate of the question. I'm going to call that question C. I'm going to hit the duplicate button again and call this question D. And I'm going to ask another question, and I'm going to make that a paragraph answer, and I'm going to call this just an essay question. Okay, and now I'm going to make all these questions required where the student cannot, submit the test without making sure they answer all the questions. In order to do that, there's a little required button here. I'm just going to click that, and I'm going to make every question required. Question D, question C is going to be required, question B is going to be required, question A is going to be required. Email will be required, student name will be required. Okay, for all intents and purposes for this training video, we have our whole exam. And you can see now with the star, the star indicates that if I click on it, the star disappears. But wherever the star is, that lets you know that you have the questions to be required. Okay, our next step is to create a spreadsheet that's going to capture all the answers that the students input. In order to do that, we leave the questions section of our form and we go into the responses section. Click in responses, and we have two ways of doing it. We can click on this green box, or we can, these 3 dots here will give us more options, and select response destination will also allow us to create a spreadsheet that'll capture the answers. We're just going to click on the green box. It asks us if we want to create a new spreadsheet or select an existing spreadsheet. We don't have an existing spreadsheet, so we're going to ask it to create a brand new one. So we're going to hit create. And automatically Google will create a spreadsheet for us that the title of it is going to be the title of our form, which is Exam 1, but it's going to call it Exam 1 Responses. Okay, and for every single column, it corresponds to the question that we asked. Okay, so this is the essay question. The title of this column is Essay, question D, C, B, A, email, and student name. And at the beginning here we have a timestamp. This tells us when the student submitted the form or when he submitted the exam. And the timestamp will be, it'll give you the date plus the time. So you know exactly when they submitted it. Okay, and the next thing we need to do is to, we need to create this spreadsheet in such a way where it will automatically grade our tests once we're finished. And in order to do that, we go on to this add-ons section. Okay, I click on this, and add-ons is like a kind of like a store where you have these fancy tools that allows your spreadsheets and your forms to do special things. So we're going to go into the store called Get Add-ons or Add-ons. Okay, and while we're in the add-ons, we see it has many different things. This whole store is made for teachers, especially the stuff that's called New Visions for public schools. You can create an entire school, online school on this if you know your way around and you shop for the right tools. But what we're going to look for is a tool called Flubaroo, and it is right, I just seen it there. And in order to, I'm just going to click on it. Okay, and it's going to give us information about Flubaroo. I'm not going to go down into the information. I'm just going to simply add it. And the way I do that is just click on this free button. Just about all the tools are free. Now it wants to ask permission to have access to our Google account, and we're going to allow it access. Okay, and up here in the, well, Flubaroo gives us a little message, and over here it also gives us another little message. I'm going to X out of both of them and go into add-ons again, and we'll see Flubaroo right here, and in the future we're going to hit grade assignment. But right now there's nothing to grade, so we're just going to go through an exam a few times as a student so we can have something to grade. And I'm just going to show our questions again, but in order to go through the exam, what you do is you hit this preview button that looks like an eye. It'll go into another tab, and it'll show what the student sees as a live exam. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start out as the teacher. We're going to call this teacher, and the email will be the email of this account. Okay, and the answer to the question will be what's in the title of the question itself. So question A, I'll make that the correct answer will be A. Correct answer for B will be B. Question, okay, C, D, and SA, I'll just put in just whatever. Well, maybe I'll just put that whatever. All right, and I'm going to submit it. Okay, now we're going to go in as a student. And by the way, the last submission I gave is the answer key. It'll judge all the other tests according to what I put in as a teacher. Okay, so we're going to call this one student, give him an email address. I'll give him an actual email address, which is going to be my own. But I'm going to make him miss question A. Question B will be correct. C will be correct. And D, I'll make him miss D. And the essay, I'll just type in anything. And we'll hit submit. We're going to do this about 4 times. So student name is 2. I'm going to also give this another actual email address. Okay, and make this student, oops, didn't quite catch, make this student just simply miss 1. And okay, another student. This is going to be the 3rd student, column 3. Email, I'll make this an actual email address. Okay, we're going to get that one right, that one right, that one right, and I'll have missed the last one. Essay will just be anything. Submit. We'll do one more. Okay, and This will be 4 students. And I'm just going to give it a real email address. I have several. Alright, and we're going to cause him to miss the last one. Submit. Okay, now we've populated our spreadsheet here by submitting questions as a students, and we also have submitted as a teacher. And under the teacher, this are all the right answers. Okay, and student number 1, 2, 3, and 4 can all be graded by a simple click of a button. If we go in as a teacher and we're ready to grade, then we just simply hit add-ons, Flubaroo, and we'll just hit grade assignments. Okay, before it completely grades it, it wants us to go through every question and assign points, as well as give more information about the question. Right here, student name, it selected identifies a student, which is correct. It gives us 3 other options: skip grading, normal grading, or grade by hand. But we know that identifies a student. The email also identifies a student, so we're going to leave it at that. And all these questions, we're going to have normal grading, and you can make them from 1 to 10 points. We're just going to leave it at 1 point, and we'll do the same thing for B, C, and D. But the essay, we're going to make that worth 6 points. Oops, 6 points, and we're going to make that grade by hand. We're going to hit continue. And now it's going to ask us which of the submissions is the answer key. Well, we know which one that is. It's the one that is marked as teacher. Now you can't see the buttons, but all the buttons on a lot of these add-ons are hidden sometimes till you hover over them, and they're usually on the left-hand side. You have to kind of squint to see it. Excuse me, but you have to kind of squint to see it. But on every one of these buttons, they just barely pop up if you go on the left hand side, but it's there. So I'm going to click on it and select the teacher, and I'm going to hit continue. Now it's going to compare all the other submissions to the teacher submission, and it's going to grade it based on those. It's going to say a new worksheet called grades has been created. I'm going to X out of that, and basically what it's telling you is that down here it's created a brand new tab called grades. If you want to go back into your student submissions, you just click in the student submissions tab, and there you are. But going back into the grades tab, let's see what it did. It gives us a summary. It tells us how many points were possible total. Right now it's telling us how many points the class got as an average. Counted submissions is 4. Remember, it doesn't count the teacher. We actually had 5 submissions, but it doesn't count the teacher as a submission, so it's just 4. And it tells us low scoring questions. Now this is helping us to analyze our test a little bit. We see on the right hand side one of these questions is highlighted, and it's telling us that the students had difficulty with this question. Okay, and I'm going to open this up a little bit. Okay, now here's the timestamp, or the submission time, and we have our student name, student emails, the points that each student got. Of course, we don't have our essay graded yet, so we have very low scores here. They submitted it 1 time. We have not emailed their grade yet. If we did, it would show little X's here, and it shows which questions they missed, and you can tell by whether it has a 0 or whether it has a point. Now, in order to grade the essay questions, what we want to do is go back into the add-ons tab, hit Flubaroo again, or hover over it, and go down to grade questions by hand. Okay, and it gives us 4 little boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4. In the first box, it tells us the student identification, which is, this is student number 1, this is their email address, and it tells us which question we want to grade. Suppose we had 4 essay questions, we would click in this box here, and it would give us different, if we had essay 1, essay 2, essay 3, you know, it would give us a drop down box here, and we can choose which essay question we want to grade. And so, but we only did 1 essay question, so it's only giving us 1 choice. And down here is the student response. And when we submitted our response as a teacher, if we want a reminder of what the correct answer is for this essay question, we just simply review the answer key, and you know, this is just practice, so whatever is never going to be the real answer. But anyways, this will let you choose and see what you actually answered if you need help later on with the correct answer when you're grading the tests. Okay, so the student submission is right here. Our next box is if you want to add a comment, you could say good job. And here, if you want to enter the points, let's just say this student got them all right, or you give them full points for the whole essay, and you hit set grade. Okay, it processed that, and it goes on to the next student. Right here is student 2, and the essay, their answer, and good job, but, and we're going to have them miss 1 point here. And you just keep moving on through the students. We're going to have the student have a real low score. Set the grade. And we are going to continue through. Okay, now we see this next student has a grade already, so we know we've hit the first student, which means we're done grading all the essays of all the students. So we can just X out of this, and now we see the grades updated according to what we gave them here. Points for their essay will correspond to their percentage here, and now these are their final grades. Now if we want to give them additional feedback, we gave a feedback in their essay question, but if we want to give each student different feedback for the entire exam, all we need to do is hit the add-ons, go back into Flubaroo, and we hit edit student feedback, and it creates another column where we can just, you know, give them feedback. And there we go. Okay, if we need to see the whole thing, we can either, either expand that column. For whatever reason, it's not expanding it. Okay, there it is. Okay, so I expanded this column so I can see my feedback a little more, and this automatically collapses this column so that you don't see it. This is just a special column by Flubaroo, and in order to hide that column, you hit this little upside down arrow and you just hide the column so you don't have to see it. Okay, the next thing we want to do is share the grades with the students, and in order to do that, you go back into add-ons, Flubaroo, and here, share grades. Before we do that, I want to show you one other thing I like to do. And under Advanced, I like to go Advanced Options. And down here, use my return address when emailing grades rather than no reply. When it sends an email out, they won't be able to reply back, which many teachers wouldn't mind doing, but some teachers would rather have their email address where they can actually hit reply and respond back to the teacher. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to check this and I'm going to submit it. It gives you more options. I'm not going to go over every option that this gives you, but this is a good start to fully be able to take advantage of a grading system. Okay, so back into add-ons, back into Flubaroo, and I'm going to share the grades. Okay, and it asks us which question do we want to use as an email address. It already picks out that it's an email. Well, it already picks up the question that we marked as email. Let me see. Well, we have to click down here, view submissions, which we can't get into now, but we only had 2 short answer questions. One was student name and one was email. And it automatically knew that the question we named email is going to be the email address of the student. Okay, and it gives us an option of, do we want to share it by email only, or do we want to share it to their Google Drive? Now this is only if they have a Google account and they entered a Google email in there. Otherwise it wouldn't be able to do it. It gives us the choice of sharing it by email and Drive if they have a Google Gmail account. But we're just going to go email and make it simple. It asks us if we want to list the questions and the scores in the email. If we uncheck this, it'll only give them their score. It won't show them which questions. And of course, if we want the answer, the correct answer to show, we just hit the answer key. And most teachers don't use this button. Most teachers don't use this button because they're not looking to give answers, because the first student who submits can get the answers and then share the answers to the rest of the class. And so that's usually not checked. Some teachers like to do this, some teachers don't. Some teachers don't want the answers, or I should say some teachers don't want the questions shared ahead of time. You know, so one teacher will get the question and then he'll share the questions to all the other students. The students can just study for just those questions and you know, get a better score on the test, and that many times is considered cheating. So often this is not checked, but sometimes it is. Sometimes the teacher has the students do it pretty much at the same time, and so they will share the questions in their email, but you don't have to. I'm just going to check both of them so we can just see what it looks like. And this is a message to the entire student class right here in this box. And I'm just going to say, good job, class. And I'm going to continue. Okay, it says 4 grades were successfully shared. And right here it says, right here it says email grade, and it has an X telling me that these 4 students had their grades emailed to them at this email address. Okay, so that's pretty much the end of it. I will just show you kind of what it looks like again. I put real email addresses in there. Oops. I just want Outlook. And I'm just going to sign into my Outlook account. Alright, so here is my email account, and I'm just going to click on this. And this is what the student would see. they can hit reply and reply back to me. If I wouldn't have chose the note my own email address and just rather had the no reply option, it would just say no reply up here. But the student finds their grade, and this is what we said to the whole class, and this is what we had for each specific student. Okay, student information up here, and it goes question by question, and if they missed one, it gives them the correct answer because that's what we told it to do. And this is our feedback of the essay. This is what they said in the essay, and this is their points. And that's pretty much it. That is how we do an exam in Google Docs, or I should say Google Drive with Google Forms and Google Spreadsheets.